I'm out of here. That's better. Feel a lot better. All right, I went in to see the new Spider-Man Brand New Day. Some people who knew me said, I think you might like this one. I don't know. I felt like I wasn't clued in, like I really was missing out on something, like I didn't know what I was looking at. I don't know, folks. It just wasn't for me. I should have known better that was going to be over the top CGI nonsense. So I am very happy to say that I'm done. I haven't walked out on a movie in decades and decades that I could remember. Well, I don't know how long I was in there, maybe a half an hour. I saw the I don't know if it was the last movie, but I remember seeing the movie with the multiverse, with all the different Peter Parkers, different Spider-Man, different Spider-Man. There's no multiverse, there's no different Spider-Mans. As soon as he said, that was Peter number 2 or something, I knew that I was out of here. And I don't know, folks. The CGI was over the top, but I expected that. I didn't mind when Spider-Man was swinging around the city and you saw him on the webs. That's fine. Okay, I'll accept that as CGI. You have to do that really these days. But when we started seeing police cars flipping over, and they were obviously Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny cartoon cars, I'm like, I just hate it. The first, I don't know, 20 minutes or more was nothing but non-stop action. Not really much. And the music, that bombastic, I don't know if it's rap or, modern music, rap. Look, it's everything I hated about it within the first half hour. I felt like a fish out of water, and I was at a party where I didn't belong, and I was not clued in on what the hell was going on. Okay, now that I'm home, let me just give you a more rounded view of what I thought. Look, this is not a review. It is not a review because I did not watch the movie. I saw about a half an hour of it, I guess. I'm estimating. Maybe it's slightly more, but no, not much more. I really couldn't take it anymore, and I don't even know what led me to the theater in the first place. I don't like, for the most part, modern superhero movies. I just do not. The last one I saw of Spider-Man was Spider-Man No Way Home from 2021. It was 5 years ago, which I didn't realize it had been that long. And I didn't even know if this movie was going to be a direct sequel to that, a continuation from that. Um, I got stuck seeing the last one. I didn't really love the last one either. That's putting it mildly. But what happened was, some people told me who had seen this one that the new one. This one you may like because it seems more like the older kind of comic books. It's more Spider-Man in the city. It's more like the way you grew up with the Spider-Man character. So I gave it a chance, and I heard, the Hulk is going to be in it. I heard, I like the Hulk, but let's be honest, I like the Hulk from the old comic books from the 60s and 70s. I don't like the Hulk they have now, where it's just basically the Jolly Green Giant cartoon man. So I really don't care for that. So I didn't miss anything. So this is just why I walked out. This is not a review. Okay. The thing is that, and I was talking a little bit about this in the clips that I've shown so far. I felt like I was lost. Like I didn't. I walked into a party where I didn't know anybody, and nobody knew me, and I just felt like it. I guess it had been too long since I saw the last movie. I do remember something about Peter Parker having his memory from everybody kind of like erased from history or their brains, where they didn't even remember Peter Parker. But having not been clued in that this was a direct follow-up to that, it's been 5 years, and I know they tried to have some flashback sequences to remind you, but it's been too long. I probably would have done better off had I somehow watched some of the last one, Spider-Man No Way Home, to get acquainted with it again. But I don't know. I don't like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I didn't like him before, and the way they change the characters around, and the way they have the character now, his his girlfriend, or used to be his girlfriend, MJ. She introduces herself, as, "Hey, I'm MJ. You're not MJ. The reason you're calling yourself MJ, like I said in this movie, is because the name's Mary Jane Watson, as the way it was written, and this character, the way she's been updated for the 21st century, is not. She's not a Mary Jane, obviously, and I think maybe it was Michelle Jones or something like that. I had to watch my old review of Spider-Man No Way Home to be refamiliarized with this. But once you start getting into that bombastic modern music, and I say modern music, it's been the same crappy music since the '90s. This sound, this rap, this super pop, whatever the heck this is, it hasn't changed. Whatever happened to when music styles used to change? I mean, the 50s were different from the 60s, the 60s were different from the 70s, the 70s were different from the 80s. It's been the same nonsense since the 90s to 2020s. And I just felt like I really didn't understand. I didn't know who the girl in the swimming pool was in the earliest scene and what that was about. I didn't understand Spider-Man going into that building where there's all these kind of like heavy duty characters that are giving him the once over and tell him to remove his mask. I didn't really understand what that was. And maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention, but I couldn't take it. And then by the time we got to seeing the flashback with, again, Marissa Tomei playing Aunt May, and I don't even know if Peter calls her Aunt, might just call her May. Hello, May. It's like, no, she's your Aunt May, and she's supposed to be a very old lady with gray hair and a bun, tied in a bun. That's Aunt May, not some really hot looking MILF. As I was exiting the theater, I heard more talk about the other universe. I don't know what they call it, the multiverse or whatever it is. I heard Peter say something like, "Oh, that was Peter number 2. There is no Peter Parker number 2. There's no Peter Parker number 3 or 4. There's only one Peter Parker." I don't subscribe to this multi-universe things. I've said this before. Just because there are multiple actors that take on a part, just because there's multiple actors playing James Bond, for example, just because there's multiple actors playing Spider-Man over the decades, does not mean there are actually different universes that come together and meet. No, there's only one universe at any given time in my book. I don't subscribe to that multiverse thing, so that kind of pissed me off. I mean, look, I don't know what else to say about this except that I should have known better. It wasn't for me. None of these really are for me. My friend told me after the movie, a friend of mine told me, this thing made $700 million so far. It's the biggest opening blockbuster money ever before. This movie so far, I think, has made more money than any other movie in history. Okay, and he said, "You're probably the only one to walk out on it," and I sign on that. I don't think anybody else on the planet walked out on this. And you know what? I'm proud of myself for it. You might not be. Maybe I'm not. Maybe my tastes are not for you. But I'm proud to say I walked down on this movie that everybody loves, that's made 700 plus million already and more to come. That's the biggest one in history for the box office and opening weekend and everything. The number one movie of all time financially, because it says more about the mass audience than it does about me. I think finally what I'll close with is saying I just did some checking, and to my relief and kind of surprise, really, there were a lot of people that didn't care for this new Spider-Man movie. Don't let the box office fool you.